Black 16-year-old gets harassed, gets assaulted by white members of a local community. Here's the video.
Right here, buddy. Right here. Tell me what you were doing. Cindy, burning out, racing through my neighborhood. Burning out, racing through my
I told you not to.
Get out my face.
I'm not in your face. Get out of my neighborhood.
Who got a gun? Who got the gun?
The guy who's got a permit to carry it.
You got a gun?
You're the one that would get a gun.
All right.
Get out of this neighborhood.
All right.
Get out of this neighborhood. You don't belong here.
But y'all want to smash the window? Smash the window?
Yeah, he did.
I got more video. I got the identity of most of those individuals involved, and I'm going to expose it right here. There's a 16-year-old at the center of this. That's a minor. That is a child. Okay? That's a child. You brought guns, you brought bricks, you smashed through his window. According to one report, they tried to hit him in the head. He could be dead or severely injured right now. He is a child. There's more video. Here it is.
3 grown men with kids, 16 years old, 16 years old, 15 and 16 years old. These guys are grown people right here. All 3 of them right there. That's the one right there. That's the one. Throw this stone right in here, in my car. Look at this big old stone right here.
That's the 16-year-old's father who arrived, okay? This happened in Sanford, Florida. I have more insight. Now, the cops did not arrest anyone immediately. Not ironic, is it? All of that evidence that you just saw, the police saw. They arrested no one in that community immediately. Court records would show that at least 2 men were later taken into custody. We have their information, let's put it up. These 2 men were later taken into custody. They were the most aggressive according to the narrative. Donald Corsi, 52 on the left, and Howard Hughes, 61 on the right, are facing felony charges. Now, Corsi was charged with weapon offenses, accusing him of sending a missile into a vehicle, a 2nd-degree felony. Hughes was charged with 1st-degree misdemeanor battery, touch or strike, and both were charged with criminal mischief, accusing or of causing more than $1,000 in damage to property. That's actual 3rd-degree felony in Florida. They were released from the Seminole County Jail after posting bond. It is not immediately known if the woman in the towel, who has been identified as Howard's wife, is or could be facing charges. So we've identified her as Cindy Dooley Hughes. All right, big ups to the internet for making that identification for us. The 16-year-old's father, his name is CJ Jones. He posted photos of the aftermath of the incident on Facebook on June 14th. There you see it. That is clear felony criminal damage, all right? Corsi is accused of throwing the large rock through the car window, smashing it while the 16-year-old was inside of the car. 16-year-old could have been severely injured or died from an injury if it made contact. The young man explained on the Insta post how he ended up in the terrifying situation, saying, "I was racially profiled while driving through my friend's neighborhood. They didn't like the way I was driving, so they felt the need to hit my car with a cone and throw a rock through my window. All I wanted to do was de-escalate until the police came because I wasn't about to get charges pressed on me for no reason." Smart 16-year-old. He waited for the police. He recorded to gather the evidence. And I really believe if he would have stopped recording or if he did not record at all, this may be a different story right now. Did you see the anger? Did you see the hate? Did you feel it in their voice? They wanted to do something bad to that child, 16-year-old minor. Let us never forget that. This is a child. The incident happened in Maple Glen Place in Sanford, Florida, where both Corsi and Hughes lives. The teen's sister wrote on Twitter on June 15th, and I quote, "Yesterday, my 16-year-old brother was racially profiled in a neighborhood in Sanford, Florida, the same city as Trayvon Martin. Luckily, he had a different fate. I commend my brother for how he reacted in the situation, and I concur with you. I commend your brother as well. According to neighborhood.com, all right, the major demographic in the Maple Glen area is white. All right, no surprise there. The boy said in the video that other neighbors came out to defend the men when police arrived. He said in the video, one of them said, they was like, officer, we don't tolerate none of that in our community. Basically saying I don't belong in their neighborhood. Trayvon Martin is dead. Ahmaud Arbery is dead. And the list goes on because people like you just saw do not believe that black people should have freedom, mobility. Now, if you think someone is driving too fast in your local community, you tell them to slow down. That's what you do. You tell them to slow down, okay? Maybe you get a license tag number, report it to the police. Guy was speeding through the neighborhood. That's what you do. But think about the extreme nature of their actions. They not only physically threatened a 16-year-old child, they decided to bring out guns and smash his car while he was inside of the vehicle. That could have resulted in severe physical injury and perhaps death. And if he wasn't recording, what else do you think would have happened? And then the police respond and they do not immediately arrest the obvious criminals in this case because white privilege is real. Now, this video is likely going to secure the prosecution of these people, but without the video, do you really think there would be a charge here? All right, Yasmin, thoughts?
You know, when I first read the quote, it said something like they threw a stone or a rock through his window. When you see the video, that's like a boulder. That's a big, that could have killed somebody, right? Like they were so aggressive, and for what? Like, what are you so afraid of from this kid driving in your neighborhood? Are you afraid of violence? Are you like, I don't understand, because that's exactly what they're perpetuating. And then the entitlement on their faces as they stood on the sidewalk waving as the kid's dad was filming them for evidence, right?
Yeah.
And just there's no fear of what's gonna happen to them. They're not even worried about it. They're completely justified in their actions, at least in their own minds. And what's sad about it is like, this is a neighborhood. This is not your personal property. This is a public street. Anyone can be on this street, right? If you don't like it, that's a personal problem. You have to deal with that. It's not for a 16-year-old kid to bear the burden of your own racism. That's not what it's for.
And for those who may say, well, I highlight racism too much, or this doesn't necessarily mean the white individuals involved are racist. Let me ask you something. Let me ask you this, and I want to be very transparent with this question. And you don't have to answer it on a public profile, answer it in your heart. If it was a 16-year-old white kid driving in a black community, and that community of adults decided to physically assault that 16-year-old white kid, bring out guns on the 16-year-old white kid, stop the 16-year-old white kid from advancing or moving, destroy his vehicle while he's inside of it, attempt to hit him with a boulder, threaten to physically harm him, do you believe the police would have let those black people go? They would have been arrested immediately. It takes much more for us to get justice, right?